How does your wife feel about you heading back down there?
She's scared. She's scared. Anyway, she reading the news. She understand the situation.
She's scared of this.
Yes, of course.
It's a bit surreal being back here after experiencing what's happening there on the ground. I met so many courageous people from Ukraine who are either looking for a place to stay and take refuge or are preparing to put their lives on the line for their country.
Right now, they calling all the people who have some military experience. So in school, if you had like military training in college, and then if like you need more people, then you get into like civilians like me.
How do you feel about that? If they say, all right, it's your turn, how will that make you feel?
I mean, I would be scared to tell you the truth, but it's my duty. People in Ukraine hate Russians, and the world know now how much we hate them and why we hate them.
Shortly after landing in Warsaw, we made our way right down to a border city called Przemysl, where the Polish government and NGOs have set up different refugee centers where they're processing people coming from Ukraine to Poland. Behind me right now is a new bus of refugees that just made it to Poland. They're escaping Ukraine and they are being greeted by volunteers where they will come into this shelter that is up here by all these different NGOs, and hopefully they'll have transit to a safe place to sleep tonight. So as we were walking around, we were approached by this very excited Polish man who saw our cameras and started talking to us.
My name is Bartek.
And where are you from?
Yes, I am from Skierniewice, from Poland. This is my girlfriend Oksana. She's Ukrainian, beautiful woman.
And what are you guys doing here today?
Right now, the Ukraine people are not above the truck drivers, and we all goods what is in the boat, we repacking to the buses and repacking to the small buses because they can cross the boat. Yeah.
So you're bringing this to Ukraine?
Yes, we bring it to the Ukraine.
So after we spoke with him, he invited us to come along to Ukraine with him, and we immediately agreed.
Right now we're going to the Lvov. Lvov, I know how to say it in English. Lviv, Lviv. We cross the board. For the few minutes we cross the board, and after this 70 kilometers, and we will be in the Lvov.
According to Bartek, trucks are not allowed across the border, but buses are. So on the Polish side, they fill the buses with supplies with humanitarian aid, they have a bunch of sausages that they bring to the army, and then they bring it to Ukraine. So once the buses are unloaded, they actually fill their buses back up, but this time with refugees to return to Poland. It took some time to get over the border because they are checking documents and making sure that, we are who we say we are. But as we were crossing the border, we saw hundreds of refugees heading from Ukraine into Poland. Right now, I'm in the city of Lviv, Ukraine, where I had a very special opportunity to talk to an English teacher here who had a lot to say about the refugee crisis and how it's impacting her city. Why do you think Putin did this?
Because he is insane. He is just a psycho. That's it. And we don't want any enemies. We just want to live. We have our houses, we have our families. We more like, down to earth. This is really very scary just to see every day, to see dead people again and again. And Russians and Putin, they dream about a big empire.
What do you think about President Zelensky?
Well, I personally didn't vote for him, but now I support him with all my heart. And I think that every Ukrainian today supports him, and we are all with him. And we think that he is one of us, he is us, and we are him.
I began to see beyond the refugee crisis. I saw Ukrainian citizens mobilizing to defend their country, and I saw people preparing to defend the city of Lviv.
In normal life we do a lot of things here, and we have brewery here. where we started was the Molotov cocktails. We have the manufacturer here which produce clothing like this. So this is done here, and
What used to be here? What used to be the industry?
yeah, like now it's stopped because.
But it was what? Beer. It was a brewery, and what else?
Yeah, we're doing festivals, and we have restaurant here. We have coffee shop. This is the publishing house office we have here. Now, actually, everyone is doing their best to do something to prepare the cocktails, to volunteer, to get the people who are running here from their houses on the east, because Lviv is more or less safe for them.
Yeah.
Some of them stay here, some of them move to Poland and further to Europe. And we are preparing food for them. We are preparing some humanitarian assistance for them. These are Molotov cocktails which we prepared. This is the normal bottle from our beer. Yeah, this is.
Wait, that's a
Putin.
normal bottle from your beer?
Yes, actually we have this beer since 2015 because we had in 2014 Russian came to Crimea Peninsula and in the eastern part, and they brought this from that time, but still now it's getting worse and worse every day. And you will see Putin here holding nuclear bomb and the soldier and the Russian trucks covered with blood. The brew team came up with the idea to produce Molotov cocktails with these bottles because this is the best way to show the message and to make some statement. And they started to produce, and whenever we claimed it, a lot of people came here willing to help, to bring some bottles, to bring some materials.
So volunteers came and brought bottles and materials.
Yeah, but mostly there were guys from our brew team who were doing that, and we prepared in 3 days, I think, more than 2,000 cocktails, and it's quite a lot. We distributed it on the points of the local defense group, on the territorial defense, and we shipped some to Kyiv. For sure, we will win this war. For us, it's we don't have another choice.
Shortly after that, I met one very interesting young Ukrainian man who actually makes backpacks, wallets, and purses for a living. But right now, his business is put on pause as he makes vests to hold body armor. He told us through a translator that it was his duty. He's a young guy who loves the creativity of making backpacks and wallets and purses, but he says it's more important right now to make this for the army and to support his people in the war against Russia.
It's a collaboration.
Before they made bags, wallets, purses, backpacks, and right now they are helping their friends to make body armor for people, for forces east. I feel a responsibility to help the way I can. Some people went with military and fight on the front lines, but we here in the back, we must help with everything we can. It used to be the factory, this whole building, but right now there's offices from different small businesses. They all came together and decided that they give this space for refugees, between 100 and 150 people, but they stay here for like 1-2 days, and it's constantly changing around. Here a woman from Zaporizhia, she lives here and helps sewing all together. This is my passion. I love doing this because there's design, there's creativity going into this. But body armor, there's no creativity. I wanted to make sewing clothes. And I never would have imagined that my first piece of clothing that I sewed would be a body armor. The war in Ukraine didn't start at 24th, it started 8 years ago. But right now the world started to know about it, and there's been a lot of exposure to this situation. And right now we feel like proud that we can help and we really making the difference.
These people have normal lives that are obviously being disrupted. He, like everyone else in Ukraine, was forced to give up something.
Tell me, you are my neighbor. It's our destiny. We will win it and we will pass it together, because most probably there won't be in even one house that there won't be a casualty. She lost her student yesterday. He was killed. Her student was killed on the front line yesterday. She and the Roman came to me and said, "We are so sad." No, I said, "You are so proud, because you had a courageous student." In a second they transformed. But before that, they didn't learn. The classic, I lost, I'm hiding. No, now you go in front. About your student, what's his name?
It's my alumni, not my student, it's my alumni. His name is Ivan Pakichko, and he was in the Ukrainian army, and he went here after the Ukrainian Leadership Academy, and yesterday we knew about he was killed at war. We in Academy are really proud of him because he is our hero. And he was brave, and he was fight about for our freedom.
From here on out, things began to get progressively more intense.
Most of the soldiers in the world, people that call themselves soldiers, they think like in a movie. Knowing that everything is going very smooth, everything is going perfect. No one will feel sorry for you. No one will show you mercy. No one. Not your enemy, not your friends, or enemies.
It's been really remarkable to meet so many of these people who have stepped up, but it's just the beginning. And right before we left, we interviewed a man who was about to go fight. Will the Ukrainian people ever accept Russian occupation?
No, definitely no.
Why?
Because we're too different. We are too differ between each other. There's huge difference between our peoples. They behave as slaves. We don't do it.
There are so many stories to tell, and so many more that unfortunately will never be told. As this conflict rages on, only time will tell if the Ukrainian people's patriotic attitude or the Russian war machine will be victorious.